Hello, and thank you for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras, here with ILTV's Morning Briefing.
Israeli lawmakers are expected to petition the High Court of Justice to postpone demolishing the Amona outpost by 1 month. The petition, which could be filed as early as today, will argue that the state needs more time to find alternative accommodations for the 40 families who live there. So far, the Omona families have fought against all relocation plans and have vowed to fight any attempt to move them. The High Court has ruled their homes were built illegally on privately owned Palestinian property and therefore must be evacuated by December 25th. A separate petition expected to be approved later in the day would at least monetarily compensate the residents of the settlement outpost with anywhere of up to 500,000 shekels, depending on the value of the property. Israel will receive its first of 50 F-35 Lightning II stealth fighters tomorrow at a ceremony to be attended by U.S. Secretary of State Ash Carter and Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman. Considered the best and most sophisticated fighters in the world, the first two of these fifth-generation stealth fighters will land at the Nevatim Air Base in Beersheva. The F-35, known in Hebrew as the Adir, which means mighty, is customized according to the needs of the Israeli Air Force and costs approximately $110 million per piece. It features advanced capabilities that help pilots elude sophisticated missile systems and maintain its qualitative military edge in the Middle East. In fact, just the helmets, which cost upwards of $400,000 each, have an in-visor heads-up display that includes thermal vision, night vision, and 360 degrees of visibility, which syncs with cameras mounted around the craft. Critics of the deal point out a list of supposed flaws in the planes and raise issue with the high cost, saying that losing even one plane would make a mission particularly cost-ineffective. But the F-35, designed by U.S. tech development company Lockheed Martin, is hailed as a modern marvel of technology, and Israel will be the first country outside the United States with an operational F-35 squadron. 3 Israelis inadvertently drove into Ramallah on Saturday afternoon and were subsequently rescued by the IDF, the Israeli police, and Arab security forces working together. The Arab police took them to the focus checkpoint near Beit El and handed them over to Israeli forces. This is not the first time Israelis have unintentionally entered Palestinian Authority-controlled areas. 2 soldiers entered Dura near Hebron in October, after trusting directions given to them by the app Waze. They were attacked with rocks, but escaped to safety after security forces intervened. Also in October, 4 soldiers accidentally entered Khalkhul, also near Hebron, after they too followed directions from Waze. The IDF has repeatedly instructed soldiers especially not to depend on Waze or other traffic navigation apps. In an interview set to broadcast later today, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu appeared on CBS's 60 Minutes to discuss the evolving relationship between the Jewish state and the U.S. When pressed about the apparent divide between him and outgoing U.S. President Barack Obama, Netanyahu stressed that while it was true that the two of them had their differences, it was never personal. He continued to point out examples of their disagreeing, such as over the Iranian nuclear deal. Changing topic to the incoming President-elect Donald Trump, the Israeli premier spoke optimistically, saying, quote, "I know Donald Trump. I know him very well. His support for Israel is clear. He feels very warmly about the Jewish state and about the Jewish people. There's no question about that." In yet another bid to gain international favor without meeting with Israel directly, a high-level delegation from the Palestinian Authority is expected to meet with Secretary of State John Kerry and other senior U.S. officials in a week-long series of meetings. Planned items for discussion center around a Palestinian proposed UN Security Council resolution, which condemns Israeli settlements and policy, which the PA hope to convince the U.S. not to veto. Members of the Palestinian delegation include Palestinian negotiator Saeb Erekat and Majid Faraj, the director of the Palestinian Authority's General Intelligence Service. Believing that President-elect Trump's future White House will be more sympathetic to Israel, the PA hopes to push these resolutions through the UN in early January before his inauguration. The last time the UN Security Council supported similar resolutions was during President Jimmy Carter's administration in 1980.
That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.